this video, but the pun will do. Tonight's Ask Reddit asks, truckers and long-distance drivers of Reddit, what are some of your spookiest and unexplained stories of the road? As always, before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And if you have your own spooky, scary stories, whether they be your own or not, here's an email that you can share them to for me to read in a future video. And here's my tip jar information in case you want to show some love and you're feeling generous and you want to buy your girl coffee or something, you know. And if you send me a story that's not your own, make sure you let me know. Also, suggestions on like creepy Reddit threads that you find that you want me to read or anything, suggestions are always welcome. Okay, let's get started. I was the passenger for this, but on a long drive I accompanied my mom on, we saw a man standing on the concrete divider at about 10 p.m. It was fall, so it was dark out and pouring rain. He was dressed as a jester, and it was on a long stretch of poorly lit highway. She flinched and asked if I saw it. I said that I did, and we watched as he walked slowly along the divider with his arms out to the sides. She pulled over because she was freaking out so bad, and he started doing weird stuff. Cartwheels, handstands, and shit. Weirdest thing ever. This was one of the dividers that's narrow and raised 2 to 4 feet off the ground. The next one says, one Sunday afternoon I was jogging along a quiet country road and it was starting to snow. A Ford Bronco pulling a horse trailer slows down next to me, and the driver asks, "Are you cold?" I say no, because even though I'm cold, you should never show weakness to a stranger. He smiles and cranes his head to look at the horse trailer, then yells, "See, quit complaining." In the horse trailer was the rest of his family, wife, and 4 kids, all dressed nicely like they had just come from church. Upon being chidden to quiet their complaining, 3 of them stick their tongues out at him, and one starts crying. The seats in the car were all empty, and to this day I wonder what the backstory was behind the horse trailer incident. Last winter, I worked as a night route driver for a medical service. Basically, I drive way out to rural clinics, pick up biological samples, and from the drop box, then drive them back into town and ship them to a lab via the 24-hour Kinkos. My route was the same 4 nights a week, but on Thursday, the 5th night of my work week, I had one additional stop, a vet's office out in the middle of fucking nowhere. It added about an hour onto my run because of how far out it was. I seriously don't know how they stayed in business because I only passed like 2 houses on the way there. Anyway, it's about 1 a.m. and I'm heading out to my last stop, the vet's office out in butt fucking nowhere. I get there, park, leave my car running as always, go around to the side of the building, collect the samples, and head back to the car. And I freeze as something rifling through the front seats, through the open driver's side window. No. I think I'm being robbed in the middle of nowhere. My phone is in the cup holder, and I'm about to shit my pants when this thing stops, looks over at me, and then hauls ass back into the woods at the side of the highway. It had to have been a bear, but it ran on 2 feet. I know bears can walk, the car was completely fine and my uncle did not even know a thing was wrong earlier due to the fog. The story always unsettles me when I have to drive in fog. I was once driving back from northern Western Australia, and at about 11 o'clock at night, and I had noticed this red light off in the distance hanging just above the horizon in my side mirror. I checked it again and again and again and again for about 2 hours, and it just hung there following us, no matter how many turns or hills we went over. I decided to stop at a rest spot for a stretch and something to eat. I walked to the road and looked back to see the light was still there, just hanging a little off the top of the road. I pointed it out to my dad, who had woken up, and he couldn't make top or tails of it. I never did find out what it was. My dad had this pickup truck when I was a kid. It was a light green GMC with a camper in the bed. Spent a lot of time in it as a kid. One of the previous owners' names was Clifford Olson. We didn't know if it was serial killer Clifford Olson, just thought it was a coincidence, although it was registered to the same town Olson had lived in. At one point, my dad took the carpeting out of the camper, and underneath he found this hammer covered in a mixture of sticky black substance and dried on hair. I think this was around the time that Olson had been caught and had been in court and was set to go to jail. My dad took the hammer to the police, but they told him that because they weren't 100% sure it was the same guy, and that Olson had enough evidence against him anyway, that they didn't need it. A while later, my dad found some story about a person who went missing in the area where Olson was operating. They weren't sure it was him, but the witness who was on the same road at the same time said they saw a green truck with a camper on the back leaving the area. So basically, me and my sister spent part of our childhood playing and hanging out in a murder van. Not, the next says, not my story, but a classic one. I was driving a shortcut from 29 Palms, California to Albuquerque, New Mexico. 29 Palms is located in the desolate high desert of East LA. The shortcut was a 2-lane road through total nothingness except for passing through Amboy, California. Amboy is nearly an abandoned town, as far below sea level as Death Valley, with a dormant volcano and a lava field on one side, and a salt flat on the other. It was also at the time a hotspot for satanic group activity. So I was driving by myself in the afternoon. I stopped in Amboy and snapped a picture of the city sign, just to prove I was there to friends who dared me to take the route to I-40. I got back in the car and proceeded to drive up into the mountain range between Amboy and I-40. Once I reach the top, I'm driving north through a canyon with high grass on both sides of the road. Up ahead, I see some stuff in the middle of the road. As I approach, I slow down to see a red Pontiac Fiero stopped sideways across both lanes. A suitcase open, with clothes scattered everywhere and 2 bodies laying face down in the road. A man and a woman. I stop 100 feet or so away, and the hair on the back of my neck is standing up. Being a Marine, I reach under the seat and pull out my 9mm pistol and chamber around. Something seemed very wrong. It looked too perfect, as if it were staged, an ambush. Was I being paranoid? Something was just wrong. Getting out of the car seemed unthinkable. It was the horror movie move. As I scanned the road, I saw a line I could drive past the guy in the road on his left, swerved or so people emerged from tall grass on either side of the road by the car and bodies. At that moment, my right foot smashed on the gas pedal to the floor and did not let up until I had to slow down for the I-40 East ramp. I will never know what would have happened to me if I had gotten out of the car to check on the bodies or stopped my car closer to them. Somehow, I do not think it would have been good. Sometimes real life can be scarier than a movie. No. Oh, no, no, no. That one actually, made my heart beat faster. Oh my goodness. Somebody commented and said my cousin had to do some work in Laredo, Texas, and some locals at the bar knew that he wasn't from around those parts and told him that same thing. He said they told him, if you see a dead body laying in the middle of the road, keep going because there's 6 guys behind a bush waiting to cut your head off. Okay. The next story says, I was asleep in the passenger seat on a 9-hour trip home to a small town in northern Ontario. I woke up to my boyfriend yelling at me to wake up. I shot upright and I'd see a homeless man dressed in rags, kind of ghostly looking, running around down the middle of the road ahead of us. I was confused and scared. We're in the middle of nowhere. There's no homeless people who live up here, and it's like 1 a.m. It just didn't make sense. Then my eyes focused, and I realized I'm staring at the end of a moose. Not something you see on the road at night, but much less scary than a homeless crazy ghost guy. The next story says, coming home from work one night around 11 p.m., about a mile from home, I come up to police lights, fire trucks, ambulances, then some car wreckage. Everyone always rubbernecks accidents like this. After this one, I don't do it anymore. I had my window down, and just as I was at my closest to the accident, I had a clear view of the driver's side of one of the cars. A woman was on her knees in the street with her arms around her teenage daughter, who was slumped half out of the driver's seat. The daughter was unconscious and covered in blood. Just as I drive past, I hear the mother scream, "Oh God, please don't take my baby." I got chills. Her hysterical tone of voice continues to chill my bones even as I type this. This happened probably 15 years ago. Please, 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 please. Drive safely, everybody. This is the last story. I was riding with some friends and we decided to make a stop at this creepy warehouse that's in this small neighborhood. We drive up to it and this van behind us stops and turns on its brights, so we get freaked out and drive off. We felt ballsy, I guess, and we decided to go back thinking he was gone. We go back and we look around, nothing. We decided not to go into this creepy as hell warehouse. So we're driving and I'm extra paranoid and I turn around and all of a sudden I see the same van driving with its lights off, following us on the road. I scream, "Fuck, that car is back." So we drive off fast and the driver goes to the left and speeds past us and cuts us off. We are completely trapped. He gets out screaming. I thought we were dead. Was he going to shoot us? Apparently he was a dad who was doing a security shift for the neighborhood because a lot of people try and do drugs in that warehouse or other weird activities. He was pretty nice, but I felt the crazy driving was unnecessary. Okay, just kidding, one more. My friend and myself were on a road trip. Part of the road trip took just north of San Francisco, and just south of the area where the Zodiac was supposed to live. For some reason, our mapping program freaked out and took us the long way back to our campsite. The road runs through the mountains and is 1.5 lanes wide, meaning that if there's another car coming at you on one of the tight curves, one of you will have to stop, reverse to a slightly wider point, and let the other car pass. Sure enough, we get to talking about the Zodiac. You know, college kids trying to freak each other out. This was a long time ago, but we'd be doing the same thing if it were today. On cue, we run into another car. It doesn't turn its high beams off, blinding us. We kidded with each other that it was the Zodiac blinding us so that he could take us before we knew what was happening. I reversed to let the car pass. He drives by. It was just an armless man with his kids in the back. But then I see a flash out of the corner of my eye. I look over at my friend to ask if he saw it too, and he was open-mouthed, staring in the same direction. Today, we still have no idea if it was our minds playing tricks or not, but he got a much better look than I did. Both of us swear we saw a man running off through the forest. Wearing what? A blue, dark jacket. Fuck my life. We both figured we were just seeing things, but neither of us fully gave it up to a creation of our minds. Somebody asked, what is the significance of the jacket? I'm not familiar with the Zodiac killer, and another person answered, after the Zodiac killer killed a cab driver, he walked off, and the cops in the area had gotten an incorrect description of the suspect, but later witnesses told them that it was a big white guy in a blue windbreaker, and they realized they had walked right by him. Chills. Okay, on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And if you have your own spooky, scary story, whether it's your own or not, just let me know. And comment, send them to this email, which is also available in the description down below. And if you want to show me some love and you're liking the content, my tip jar information is also available down below and right here. Okay guys, namaste, have a nice day.